it's really impossible to do what I would like to do, which is to take you into a deep dive of what I have found at SARS since I arrived there on the 1st of May, and to then also tell you what we have done subsequently to that. But I'll give you a flavor. But I think before I do that, one of the first things that I messaged very loudly when I walked through the doors and started meeting our staff was to make the point very clearly that state capture was real. It wasn't a figment of our imagination, and that the capture of SARS was real. Why do you think I repeat that message every time? I repeat it because there are still those who is in denial about whether or not it happened, including people in civil society, but also in these organs of state that are still employed there, and SARS is no different. I can also tell you that however badly the Nugent report framed what had happened at SARS, the actual reality is significantly worse. The organization is broken, it is on the floor, it is destroyed from the core of the human fiber, morale, trust, through to the capabilities that are vested in people, the organizational arrangements that hold us together to execute both with integrity, with good governance, and effectiveness have been destroyed, dismantled, and Nugent quite rightly frames it as a massive failure of governance and integrity. And for me, sadly, the denialists often speak with louder voices than those of us who are trying to rebuild the state and recapture the state. And those denialists are in government still, they are in politics still, they are still in institutions such as SARS, they are still active in businesses, including organizations like Bain and others who, according to the newspaper reports, are still not yet at a level where they are disclosing, frankly, that they were actually at the scene of crime and complicit wittingly of what had taken place, and had actually met with the head of state and with the commissioner-to-be about a year before the appointment of the commissioner was announced. And then, of course, there are those who are just indifferent, and then there is the silent majority. All of us who form part of any of those institutions, I have to say, are complicit. And as Edmund Burke says, the only thing required for evil to thrive is when good people remain silent. And so today is an important event. Who must rebuild the state? Well, every single one of us must take a part in it, must find a way to make a contribution. So let me just tell you quickly, and we can go into detail if the time allows us, that within SARS, as I said, the rot is deep. It's cancer, it has spread everywhere, it is often still invisible, it's hiding. Why do I know that? I know that because I have a private meeting with one or two people in a room, and 3 days later, I get a set of questions from the media so specific that they could only have been in the room. And sometimes I pick up my phone and I publicly say something because my phone is probably also bugged. So everything we do is on the record. So what have we done? We are currently reviewing the governance structure of SARS. We do that in conjunction with Treasury, and we'll put out a paper before February next year. Secondly, we are reviewing the governance within SARS, because that has been destroyed. When the former commissioner decided to dismantle the High Court litigation unit, it was to frustrate the process. When the LBC was dismantled, it was so that a few of them could have direct access to large taxpayers. Just before he was suspended, there was a draft change in the terms of reference that all settlements above 100 million would only be approved by the commissioner. Let me tell you, as a commissioner, I would be too scared to do that. The furthest I can stay away from any of the discussions, the safer I would feel. We've begun to address the leadership issues. You have heard of senior executives placed on precautionary suspension, and some of them have been settled. There's a number of them that are still in process. Some of them are not in the public domain yet. When I leave here later today, I am going to launch the reopening of the Large Business Centre in Woodmead, and that begins a journey of addressing because large taxpayers and wealthy individuals represent not only the most significant opportunity for us, they also represent the most significant risk. As far as people, or rather trustees, I've already met with about 90% of our staff, visited most of our offices, and engaged with people, look into their eyes, see their trauma, see their hurt. In conversations, often people are reduced to tears when they reflect on their experiences. It has been most undignified, apart from it just being commercially stupid. And so we've also begun to reach out. In the last month, I've rehired 3 senior, strong technical people who have left SARS during this period, and we will continue on a case-by-case basis to do so. You see me on TV and in newspapers, probably too much for your liking, but as part of a very conscious choice to engage with the public, to rebuild public confidence, and we do that by being disarmingly frank about the rot in SARS and the challenges we will face, and the fact that this is not a long weekend fix, but it's going to be hard work over an extended period to rebuild SARS. But we're doing that. We've identified a number of, because if I only did the work that the Nugent Commission asked me to do, I would be depressed. So we've also created 6 revenue recovery opportunity projects that we are driving, because the best way to change the morale is to start winning again. And so we want our people internally to start seeing that we can win. And we've identified 6 revenue recovery projects. So watch out, we're coming after you to collect that money. And then also a few immediate projects to address some of the softer issues with the organization, including addressing prosecutions of our own people, disciplinary actions against our own people, purely with the intent to marginalize and remove them to get access to taxpayers. So very deliberate, and as the judge said, an acupuncturist should not have found the pressure points cleverly. And then, to excite us, we have initiated internal conversation over the next 5 years to reimagine what SARS can be, to be very clear about our strategic intent. We've identified 9 strategic objectives, and so we are starting the longer term work of rebuilding SARS and making it an organization of choice, making it an organization that can work with unquestionable integrity, that can be trusted and admired by society. Very quickly, let me give you some specific data points. We've already risk profiled 35 cases that are raised at the various commissions of inquiry. We are currently busy with in-depth investigative orders in a number of cases that we have picked up there. We've already completed a few tax inquiries and a few more in process. We have parted ways with a few executives who, in our view, became compliant and therefore inadvertently or consciously complicit. 21 cases that we have laid against our own staff for collusive behavior and have successfully prosecuted 5. We have informed a few more related staff disciplinary matters. In addition, we have a very active relationship. We've got several requests from the Zondo Commission, the PIC commissions, as well as the Asset Forfeiture Unit. And just this past month, we've had 1 request and have handed over a file to the MPA, the ID, which relate to 4 connected entities. So a lot of our work is below the surface because we're a revenue authority. We work within the provision of the law, which requires confidentiality. But if you come and take a deep dive, you'll be encouraged to know that despite the fact that there's significant work of rebuilding to be done, we are very slowly, it's a game of inches, and slowly those inches will turn into feet, those feet will turn into yards, and those yards will turn into miles. Thank you.
you very much. Can I ask two questions before we hand over to you, Sarah? Can I just one or two questions? Firstly, the company Bain and Company was a bit of a wrecking ball, very clearly, given the role that it played at SARS. And we've seen Athol Williams, the CEO, step down this past week. I think a couple of months ago he was promising to come knock at your door and apologize, and he too has realized that he can't seem to fix that. A question to you, because for many of us in civil society, we're confronted with questions about the role of the private sector. Is SARS planning to go after Bain in terms of civil liability? This is my first question. And then linked to that, about the role of the private sector in the payment of tax. And I think we're encouraged by the establishment, or re-establishment today, and your efforts you're making in terms of the large business unit. But I guess the question is, this issue of illicit financial flows has predated what some term the current state capture. Whether it is the rogue, or not the rogue, whether it is the tobacco companies, small or large, or it's the large coal companies, and mining companies, and platinum companies, as civil society again has shown at Marikana, who are responsible for moving profits offshore, some illicitly. How are we going to put a stop to that, and is that on top of SARS's agenda?
So let me give a few quick responses. Firstly, on Bain, we've engaged them, and they have obviously, as we've reported, the direct civil claim against them was the fees that they were paid plus the interest, which amounted to some 240 million rand that they've paid. But the indirect claim against them is the fact that because of what I call a fake operating model review, they have really rendered SARS incapable of administering its mandate. The result of which was SARS's inability to collect the revenues that are due. We've seen that in the last 5 years, we've undercollected in excess of 200 million rand. In the last year, it was an under recovery of over 50 billion. 200 billion rather, not million, and an under recovery just in the last year. That's going to take time to recover and to return. And within a struggling economy such as we find ourselves in at the moment, it just exacerbates a problem that is already bad. And if you add to that a growing expenditure profile on the part of government expenses, you have an accident waiting for a place and a time to happen. And so that doesn't augur well for us. In addition to that, we have referred the Bain matter for criminal investigation to the DPCI and the NPA, and we believe they have a case to answer. We believe there is enough trail of evidence that suggests that they were wittingly engaged, even ahead of the appointment of the commissioner, to come and do some work to review the operating model of SARS. So that work will continue. You're quite right. State capture and crime wasn't invented in the last 10 years. We've just deepened and improved our core competency to do it. And so we are concerned about, so what happens in an environment where the public begin to believe that SARS is paralyzed and incapable of administering its law, then those who naturally have a criminal intent will find that it is open season and fair game. And so we have seen a proliferation of that fraud. Just the other day, we came across 400 entities that have been created by a syndicate of about a few companies that have created VAT entities purely for the purpose of that fraud. We do a significant amount of work and some of this will have unintended consequences with slowing down some of the refunds, because we have to pause just a moment longer and analyze and do more risk work to establish where the risk, and mostly honest taxpayers will get their refunds within our refund time. To give you a data point there, of the 2.8 million individual taxpayers that have filed since the beginning of this filing season, we've already paid out close on to 17 billion of refunds. most of those returns, by the way, would have been assessed within under 3 seconds. 403 refunds, rather submissions, and about 84% of those refunds would have been paid out within the 72 hours. So I think there cannot be a general complaint that refunds are being manipulated, but certainly if there's any suggestion that there's a risk, we make no apology for doing a deep dive to establish that. We've seen syndicates under-declare or misprice goods on imports. For example, from China and India, clothing that's come in and declared, a suit is just declared for 17 Rand, pajamas for 78 cents. And it's just blatant criminal, and importers and freight forwarders involved, intermediaries involved in this, believe they can get away with it. Scrap metal that's packaged as finished goods and products are exported, and they are packaged in the way that they are packaged because you have a VAT refund. So it's zero, any goods, finished goods for export are zero rated for VAT. And so people would take scrap metal and they would repackage it, label it as finished goods and products, overstate its value so that they can claim VAT. So the number of fraudulent practices that are there are open-ended, but we are aware of it. And with the capability we have, we are working hard at managing that non-compliance and following up cases through to recovering the money and prosecuting the offenders. But if we doubled our capability today, we could exponentially improve our impact.